What is up, everybody? Welcome back. You're listening to The Introverted Nerd Watches. I am Reese, and it's time for some more Cloak and Dagger, y'all, because, okay, I freaking love this show. We're only 3 episodes in. I'm trying not to get too excited about it because I don't want to overhype it for anybody, but oh my God, I freaking love this show. It's so good. It's just so damn good. Okay, before I get into it, because I don't want to get distracted, I'm going to stay on focus right now. Subscribe to the podcast because I'm doing a lot of fun things. Hello, Cloak and Dagger. Every week I'm reviewing Cloak and Dagger. And I'm doing my Saved by the Bell rewatch on every Throwback Thursday. So that is always a lot of fun. And you can listen to that whether you watch Saved by the Bell or not, because Zach is a terrible person. And everybody already knows that. So you just want to hear me talk about the rest of the episode. So subscribe to the podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts. Listen on iTunes. Not iTunes. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. I'm on Spotify and iHeartRadio. I'm everywhere. So subscribe. Leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also leave reviews on Stitcher. Not 5-star reviews, but you can leave like a nice review on Stitcher, and that'll just be nice if you just want me to, and I'll read all of that stuff on the podcast. So let's get into Cloak and Dagger season 1 episode 3, Stained Glass. So like I was saying, this episode was so good. It's another episode where Tyrone and Tandy don't have a lot of interaction with each other, but I feel like just because they haven't been spending time with each other doesn't mean they don't have this deeper connection. Because the episode, I like the setup of the episode. It's Ty and Tandy, seeing each other in the sort of like, I guess you would call it the spirit world, a dream maybe, but it's sort of this place where you're clearing your consciousness, and it has something to do. It's sort of religion based, but not any specific religion. At least that's what they say in this episode. There's voodoo involved. It's a whole thing. I found that really interesting too. They're really using the history of New Orleans really well. So that's a really good thing. As somebody that hasn't been to New Orleans, I don't, maybe somebody that lives there or has been there has a better idea of what it's actually like will tell me that I'm just like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but just at least someone on the outside looking in, it feels like they're using the history well, and it's not too cliche, because I feel like when you get into the voodoo stuff, it can feel kind of cliche with New Orleans, but at least to me, it wasn't. It didn't seem that way to me. So, we start the episode where we ended the last episode, and we get the same scene from both perspectives. So you start off with Tandy's, and it's after the crash. Ty is still has his gun, and Tandy is all messed up. Her head is bleeding. She has a concussion. And I love that Tandy, no matter what happens, Tandy is always ready to dip. She gets up off the ground. Like I guess she got thrown from the car, or maybe she got out of the car. I don't know. I'm going to say that she was thrown from the car. The windshield is busted. She's still driving that convertible car from the wedding, and it still has all the wedding, the just married cans and everything still on it. And Ty walks up to her and he's asking her what's wrong. She's like kind of out of it. And she asks him if he's trying to kill her. And he's like, no, why would you even think that? And she's like, 'cause you have a gun. And I'm like, yeah, Ty, you have a gun. Or, like you appear in the middle of the street, you shoot at her. And now you're over here acting like you want to help. Like, no, dude, you cannot. And he's so surprised. Like, he doesn't even realize, like, it's like he doesn't even realize he has the gun on him anymore. I really love that scene. But Tandy, the girl, I love Tandy because she gets up. She's like, I'm not staying here with you. Ty's trying to stop her. He's like, hey, your head's messed up. You probably have a concussion. You can't drive. Because my girl wants to get right back in the car and keep going. She is not letting anything deter her. Car accident, gunshots, nothing. She is getting in that car and she is leaving town. And she didn't even bring up... Oh my God. At the end of the last episode, I kind of thought that she would have a change of heart and she would want to go back to help Liam after he was arrested, but nope, not Tandy. Tandy is like, sorry, Liam, we had a deal. You gave me that money to get out of town and I'm getting out of town. I don't want to hear anything else about it. So, she drives off and she says to Ty, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like an asshole, but I hope I never see you again. And she drives away because they hear the police car. And I thought somebody called the police because they heard, the gunshots or the car accident. But when the police drive by, I don't know. They drive by and I don't know where they're going. So maybe I was wondering if the police were being called because the dude Cooper called the police because he was shot at. But I'm thinking that's not the case. I was thinking that when I was watching the episode, but I'm thinking that's probably not the case. And and the police thing is, maybe it's nothing because it never gets brought back up. And Tandy ends up going to her mom's house. Tandy wipes down the car. She wipes all the handles down. She wipes everything down to get rid of the fingerprints. And she goes to her mom's house. And I was so surprised that her mom actually came through for her. Because her mom gets up and she's like, first of all, she's like, what are you doing here, Tandy? She's being kind of, confrontational, we'll say. Being nice. She's being confrontational. And she's like, what are you doing here? I didn't think you would be back here. And she's kind of picking an argument with her, and Tandy's not having it. And then Detective O'Reilly shows up. Now, Detective O'Reilly spoke at the end of the last episode. We hear her speak a lot in this episode, and I can't tell you that I was kind of disappointed. I was disappointed. I don't know why. I don't know what I was expecting from her voice, but I think I was expecting an accent or something. I know this chick from somewhere. I didn't look it up, but I recognize her face. Somebody has to tell me where she's from. Maybe I'll look it up later, or I'll probably forget about it. But I recognize her from some TV show that I watched. And I think that I thought that she had an accent. Maybe I thought she was British or something. I don't know, but she speaks and it's not, she's sort of, I don't know if she's a good cop or not. We'll get into her. I don't know. But Bridget O'Reilly, kind of aggressive. She goes to Tandy's mom's house and she's like, she wants to know where Tandy is. And her mom, like I said, comes through and is like, I haven't seen Tandy in weeks. She doesn't live here. Her mom was a step away from saying, I don't know her. I never heard of that girl before, but she came through. And even Pink Robe Greg from last week was still wearing a pink robe, drinking first thing in the morning. But he came through and he's like, I'm a lawyer. You can't come in this house, because Bridget O'Reilly was trying to push her way into the house. It's like, girl, why are you this aggressive if you claim that you're trying to help Tandy? Because it feels like I wouldn't have trusted her. Like, I agree with Tandy's mom in this case because at first she wasn't really saying anything. She's asking to come into the house. She's asking about Tandy. But if you really feel like, Tandy is a minor, I think Tandy is a minor. And if you really feel like she was in danger or that she was a victim of some crime, then you would tell her mother, like, hey, I think your daughter was a victim of a crime. Can I come in and talk to you about it? That's how you started off, Bridget O'Reilly. You don't treat everybody like a goddamn suspect. But that's what she was doing, and that's why she couldn't get into the house, because Pink Robe Greg was like, girl, no, I'm her lawyer. You can't come in. So Bridget O'Reilly goes to see Rapey Davy in the hospital, and that dude lies. He wakes up and she's like, I think I said it on Twitter, but I was like, she plays good cop, bad cop by herself with the suspects. So she's talking to Rapey Davy. He's still in bed in the hospital. And she's asking him questions about, what happened to him. And, he's lying, obviously. We know he's lying. She knows he's lying. But she goes sort of Elliot from Law and Order. Or maybe not Elliot, because Elliot would have beat a bitch up. Elliot liked to get handsy with people, but she got a little bit aggressive, and she tells him that his the scratches on his face look like defensive wounds, like somebody scratched him, and his pants were around his ankles, and he's like, oh, like, hey, like, what are you doing? But I'm like, it just doesn't feel like that's the way that you should confront a suspect. I feel like you don't have good bedside manner. Bridget O'Reilly needs a partner. She needs a partner to play off of so that she knows when she's going a little too far. Like, you have to be a little bit nicer if you're going to get something out of Rapey Davy. And I don't even know what that guy's name is, but he's Rapey Davy in my notes, so he's just going to continue to be Rapey Davy. And Tandy is not stopping from going out of town. My girl goes to the bus. She goes to the bus to get on, to continue to leave town. And this is when her dream starts. She puts her earphones on, which, she's having, her ears are actually ringing. Like, we hear the ringing in her ears. That's the effect on TV. We see that she actually has a freaking concussion. She needs to go to a hospital. She shouldn't be taking naps and shit. But she gets on this bus and she goes to sleep, and, she puts on her earphones. She puts on the hoodie, Ty's hoodie, or Billy's hoodie. And she goes to sleep, and then she wakes up, but she's not really awake. She's in sort of this dreamlike state where there's nobody else around, and she gets off the bus and it's really light outside, and she sees baby Ty, or not baby Ty, but young Ty. And she's just seeing these scenes, and Ty is experiences the same thing, which I really love. They sort of get the answers to each other's problems through these dreams. So Ty, while this is going on with Tandy, Ty is at school. He's trying to talk to the drunk priest. But he didn't show up for work. So that dude, I can't wait until he gets back, because I know he got that brown liquor in him, and he is no good. He didn't show up for work or anything. I can't wait to see what's going on with that priest. It might not even be that important. I just want to know what's going on with him, because I was too through when he was trying to sneak by that brown liquor in the store by, he put that loaf of bread down and was like, give me what did he say? Give me a lot of liquor. I don't know. I'm not a liquor drinker, so I don't know what he called it, but I know that you got a problem when you got to hide the fact that you're buying alcohol. So, Ty's at school and he starts, when he can't find the priest, he starts talking to his brother Billy. I thought he was praying to God at first, but no, he's talking to his I guess he's like praying to his brother, and he's saying that he's trying to be like Billy, but he's failing and he feels cursed. And then your girl Evita walks in. You know, I was kind of through with her. Now, I've watched this episode 3 times. And the first time I watched, I was like, what the fuck is she doing here? Like, why is she... I was just super suspicious of her. You know, she busts in on Ty, like trying to have this private moment. And when she talks to him and she's saying that, you know, she made herself known because she didn't want him to think that she was stalking him. But it's like, girl, you were kind of being creepy. You listened to his whole like personal conversation with his personal thoughts. So that is kind of creepy and stalkery, Evita. Like Evita was on thin ice with me when I first watched this episode, when I was live tweeting it. I was not happy with Evita. Now, after the 3rd time, I'm like, okay, Evita is not my fave. I like her hair. Her curly, natural hair is nice. But I'm still not a huge fan of her. And I was saying on Tumblr that, you know, it's probably irrational. I'm shipping Tandy and Tyrone. So, you know, my thoughts about Evita is like, she's standing in the way of perfection of my ship. So I don't like her a whole lot right now. Like, I want her to step aside so that Tandy and Tyrone can be together, the divine pair, and, you know, I'll be happy. But we can't all get what we want when we want it. We have to wait for the right time, and I will accept that. But so Evita, because she was listening outside the door, tells Ty that he should like, I feel like this was all, she's using his problems as a setup so that she can like get with him. You know, I don't like it. I don't like that. Like, anytime I watch it, I don't like that she's using his problems to try to get closer to him. But she kind of helped in this episode, whatever. So we find out she invites him to when he said he feels cursed. So she invites him to meet her after school, and what he meets her for is Evita does walking tours of New Orleans that is about the it's called the Damballa Voodoo Tour, and she gives a tour of all the voodoo places in the city, and Marie Laveau's tomb, and how people make wishes on her tomb and things like that. So that was kind of interesting. You get like a whole, you know, you walk through her tour and everything. You should go back and watch it. It's kind of interesting. And you look at Marie Laveau yourself. She's interesting woman, the voodoo queen of, what is it, New Orleans? Yeah, the voodoo queen of New Orleans. So what happens is that she takes Ty, this is her family business, and she tells Ty that this is how she pays for, you know, the tuition for school. And he asks her if she actually believes any of the stuff that she told him about, which is, you know, the voodoo rituals that protect and guide and cleanse and all of that. And they even remove curses. And she says this sort of directly to Ty. And he asks if she believes it. And she says that she doesn't have to believe any of this stuff for it to be like possible, for it to happen, for it to have like an actual effect on real life. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the and she also said that she believes it as much as she believes all of the stuff that they learn in their Catholic school. So I appreciate that they don't make anybody super religious here. Like I don't know how religious Evita is from this. So if she's super religious, then she really does believe in all of the voodoo stuff. But if she's just a girl that goes to Catholic school, like a lot of people I knew, because it offers the best education, then this is just some shit that she does. So I like that about Evita. We haven't really this show is like, religion is around, and it's a very, they're in churches, and this episode is called Stained Glass, and there's a really like emphasis on the stained glass windows that are in this church and that are around and everything, but it's not a super like heavy-handed religious like God and everything show. So as an atheist, I appreciate that. But it's not a big deal to me. I can sort of treat God the way that I treat superheroes. So it doesn't matter. But it's a nice thing. So they go to see Evita's aunt, her auntie. I don't even know what I was calling her auntie in my notes, because I don't know that she said the woman's actual name. So when they go in, she's playing I think she's playing Angry Birds, and she's ignoring Ty, and she's playing Angry Birds, and we find out that Evita has told her aunt all about Ty already, which is like, okay, Evita, so Evita has been into Ty for a little while then. I want to sit here with my arms crossed, like, get off of him. Like, he's not for you, Evita. But if she liked him for a while, I can sort of get it. I mean, Ty's good looking. I understand Evita, but he's not for you. I feel like I have to keep saying that. He's not for you. There's somebody else out there for you, Evita, and your nice curly hair, but it's not my boy Ty. He's for somebody else. So, and Ty does this thing that I freaking hate. And I was like, Ty, you know better. So my dude walks in, and while Evita's auntie is ignoring him, she has like all of these little dolls on her mantle. And she's playing her Angry Birds, and Ty walks over to the mantle, and he's about to touch some of her stuff. I was like, oh my God, I love you, Ty, but I know your mother taught you better than that. You do not walk into people's houses touching all of their shit. Like, no. Like, he didn't get a chance to touch anything, and Evita's auntie was like, don't touch that stuff. Like, get your ass back over here. Don't touch anything. But I was so, like, I almost went into like shock or something. Like, I was clutching my pearls while I was watching it. I was like, no, Ty, no, you don't do that. You don't do that type of stuff. You don't walk in touching people's stuff. Like, you don't even sit down right away. You wait for somebody to offer you a seat. You definitely don't walk over to the mantle touching all their decorative shit. Like, I had too many people like that in my family. My cousin was just over at my house yesterday, and she picks up something. She picks up my coconut oil off the shelf, and she opens it and she spills it, which is like a whole other thing. But I'm like, she's always walking around touching stuff like she lives here. It's like, girl, I'm still pissed about it. You can tell, right? So Evita's auntie, and that's another thing. I never call any of my aunts auntie. First of all, I don't have any aunts. Like, I have great aunts, but I don't have any, like, I only have uncles. My mom has two brothers, and so I only have uncles. I don't have any aunts. And I don't call my uncles by uncle either. I call them by their first names. But this is something that I didn't know people did. Auntie, like until I got on the internet, until I started talking to people on the internet, I didn't realize people actually called their aunt auntie. I thought that was just a thing. Like I didn't realize people actually did that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not something that I see every day. I'm such a sheltered little thing. Um Auntie, like I'm so amazed by Auntie. You can tell what kind of person I'm a shut-in. I never talk to people. I'm like Auntie. I'm so amazed. So Avita's auntie does a reading on Ty, and she starts by saying that Ty doesn't think he deserves help, and she tells him he has the what is it? The Joker, a king and a Joker, and that means that he needs to be cleansed. And she tells him he needs a bath, and Ty he gets defensive. Like he was a step away from like stiffing his underarms to see if he got kind of funky on the ride over. But Evita tells him that the cleansing bath is like it's to cleanse your spirit. And he's like, well, is there any other way that I can do it? And her aunt says, well, I can hit you over the head and give you concussion, because the cleansing bath and, a concussion helps in, it opens your mind. It's like a spiritual cleanse of the sinus, and so that you can walk in the land of Loa. And so since Tandy has a concussion and Ty is going to take this cleansing bath, they're walking in the land of Loa. This dream-like state that they both go into is them walking in the land of Loa. I mean, according to voodoo. And she tells him all these, he reads, like she gives him a list of all these like herbs that he has to get. And this was so funny. He's like, so, it says like star anise and like mallow or something like, there's a bunch of like obscure herbs. And he's like, do we go to the woods and pick this stuff? Like, where do I get this stuff? And she's like, she gives him a look like, boy, really? And she's like, I know a place that you can get this. And then you see Evita and Ty walking into his house with a bag from Whole Foods. So I'm like, oh my God, he probably spent like $100 buying all those all the herbs that he needed to buy. Where did Ty get the money from? I know he doesn't have a part-time job or anything, because that boy has too many things on his calendar to be working too. But he's probably trying to do that too. I don't know. So he goes to take a bath, and Evita's there, and I was so waiting for Evita to try to sneak a peek at Ty without his clothes on. But she was cool. She didn't do it. I'm cool. I'm not going to, like, I was really shitting on Evita. The first time I watched this episode, I was like thinking all the worst thoughts about her. I was thinking like everything. I was like, is she working with Cooper? I'm like, Cooper doesn't even know who Ty is right now. So I could not see anything good in her the first time I watched this. So he gets in the bath and he starts having his dream of Tandy. And what he sees when he wakes up in his house, and he ends up on the roof of the Roxanne Core building. And Tandy is there, and it's baby Tandy. And she's practicing her ballet, and she almost gets electrocuted because there's water there and there's like electrical wires, and he saves baby Tandy from getting electrocuted. And then he ends up in the woods with older Tandy. And while all this is going on, Ty is seeing all this, but nobody can see him. And the same thing with Tandy when she's over and with little Ty. Um, nobody else can see them in this, sort of dream state that they're in the land of Loa. So older Tandy they're in the woods and they're standing outside of like this glass building, and she's seeing her father tied up in a chair, and he's about to be tortured. He actually gets waterboarded, and it's a scene that keeps repeating, and the what happens in the inside of the building changes. One time, her dad gets waterboarded. Another time, her mom shows up and she's talking to all of the corporate people that are in there while her dad is still tied up. Another time, little Tandy runs into the room trying to save her father. And every time, adult Tandy is standing outside with Ty, and she's watching all this stuff happen, and she runs away every time. And Ty is telling her, like, what are you doing, Tandy? You have to stop. You have to figure out another way. And he stops her with his powers. He's able to, like, they never speak in this dream state, but they do. He does stop her with his powers, with his dark power, and he makes her stop and find another way, and that's what she does. And we do the same thing with Tandy when she sees baby Tyrone. She sees the light, the lighter side of things that could happen. Like the first time she sees baby Tyrone, he's on a basketball court with his brother Billy, and they have a whole scene where Billy's friends show up and they're like, we can go take back our radio like they did in the first episode. But Billy decides, no, I'm going to stay here with my brother. And he gives Ty a check. I don't know where the check comes from. I don't know whether I missed something in the first two episodes, but he gives Ty a check. And I have to go back and watch the first two episodes to see if I missed something, or maybe it's something that's going to come up to make it, clearer about what was actually happened. And then Tandy sees Ty she sees baby Ty in a like a check cashing place, and you walk in and you see Billy's basketball uniform. And I think this is why Ty plays basketball, because Billy played basketball. And this is part of Ty trying to be like Billy. And we see all of these signs that say we cash corporate checks, and we see a picture with Billy holding checks. And Ty is locked in like behind a metal door in a check cashing place with all these checks around him, and he's crying and Tandy's trying to help him. And then we see adult Ty, but it's not adult Ty, but teenage Ty, and he's wearing like these old timey clothes. It's like this white sort of like I think like 17th century or 18th century. Those pants that only come down to the knees with the socks that come up. It's like, I don't know what they're called. I forget what they're called, but he's wearing a white suit, and they're in the woods like they are with Tandy, except they're in the daytime. And it's like, there's a table with all of these weapons. There's a gun and a noose and handcuffs. And we see Ty the first time he kills the cop Cooper, and then his parents die. And Tandy is standing there watching all of this. And the music that's happening in this moment, it's like, This Is America. And it's not Childish Gambino, but it's another song where I don't know what the song is called, but they're singing This Is America. And the police run out and they're chasing after Ty. And it's such a provocative scene, and an evocative scene. It's a beautiful scene, and we actually see every time, it's a repeated scene that Tandy is seeing, where Ty comes in again, and he picks up a noose, and he ends up getting chased by the police and hanged by the noose. And and Tandy is screaming, and it's such a, I love this show. It's such a great scene. And then this is when Tandy stops Ty, and she tells him, stop doing this. You're going to keep on getting the same, you're going to keep coming to the same end. You have to find another way. And this is when her light dagger comes out, and she puts a light dagger on the table, and this is when Ty picks up the handcuffs, and he takes him over to Cooper, and Cooper runs away. And this is where they converge, because Ty is seeing Tandy inside the church that Tandy lives in right now. It's little girl Tandy again, and she's giving out communion, but she's doing it with a bottle of pills. And I guess it's the long line of men that she sort of scammed already, because Rapey Davy is there. And when she's giving communion, this little girl, she's wearing the priest outfit and everything. She's so adorable, that little girl. As soon as she gives them the pill, the guys fall out, and they die, I guess. And the last person to step up is Liam. And you think that Liam might survive, because he doesn't take the communion in directly into the mouth like everybody else. He takes the pill from her hand, and he puts it in his mouth himself. And Tandy pats him on the head, and he smiles at her, and he starts singing the song that's playing, and then he eventually drops and falls to the floor too. So I think what we're supposed to believe about Liam is that, Liam is obviously not the one for Tandy, but that Tandy is not the one that poisoned Liam. Everybody else there, at least, Rapey Davy is the only one we know that she drugged. But Liam does it himself. Liam wants to be there on his own, so he doesn't, he knows what's going on, and he takes the pill from Tandy anyway, and he takes the pill himself, but it's still the same result. So, poor Liam. Actually, kind of, I wasn't into him, and I'm not into him for Tandy, obviously, but he was kind of a nice guy. There's the whole age difference thing that's going on, where I don't know exactly how old he is, and they don't really say how old he is. We know he's older than Tandy, but they don't go into how big of an age difference there is, but it's kind of suspect. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, which sounds really bad. I'm willing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but I'm really hard on Evita. But it's because I feel like Evita has more of a chance with Ty than Liam actually has with Tandy. I feel like Tandy has already shown that she would drop Liam in a second. She would dip in him, in a second for anything. So he's not really a worry to me. Evita, I feel, could be a real obstacle to my Tandy and Ty endgame dreams. So we get to where they really converge, and they're standing on opposite sides of the stained glass, and their powers are sort of attracting each other. So we see a light dagger come out of Tandy's hand, and we see the darkness come out of Ty's, and they're on opposite sides of the stained glass, and then they both wake up. This is really cool, because this finally means we're going to get Ty and Tandy together, because Tandy wakes up, and she has finally made up her mind that she's going to stay and face what's going on, she calls Bridget O'Reilly and tells her that she wants to talk to her. But things can't work out because Cooper goes up to O'Reilly, hands her Rapey Davies ID, and tells her that the case is closed. He found the ID on, some junkie that OD'd, and he tells her that, Rapey Davies' story checks out. He was just robbed on the street. And Bridget is like, wait, what? How is the case closed? The evidence doesn't add up. And Cooper, he ain't having any of it. He's being a creep, and he's telling her she owes him a beer and everything. I hate that guy. I just want to shoot him in the face myself. Like, I know Ty isn't supposed to shoot him in the face, but I do. I want him to shoot him in the face. So when, by the time Tandy goes to see Bridget, it's like the case has already been closed. She doesn't get any, closure. The only thing Bridget can do is apologize to Tandy for what happened to her. But I so felt bad for Tandy in that moment, because she finally stays to deal with some shit that's going on in her life. And she won't get any retribution. She won't get any, at least not as far as the police go right now. There's nothing they can do. Case closed. So with Ty and Evita are walking home, and she's asking him about what he saw, what he wished for on Marie Laveau's grave, because he wished on the grave, you have to draw an X and turn in 3 circles and all that. And he made a wish. And he tells her that he can't tell her what he saw because he doesn't think it's his story to tell. It's about somebody else. And he's right. It is about Tandy. And he ends up seeing the church that he saw while he was in the Land of Loa. And he's being drawn there, but he kisses Evita, which you can tell it's making me sick. So he kisses her, and they have a little moment, but it was barely a kiss. So I'm not worried or anything like that. But they do barely kiss. It's like a peck on the lips. Like, we saw a sex scene between Tandy and Liam, but Evita and Ty their lips barely touched. Like, I blinked and it was over. So, I guess that means that they're kind of a thing now. I don't know how teenagers work. Does a kiss mean you're a thing? Did it mean you were a thing when I was growing up? I don't remember. I don't think so. I guess we weren't a thing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where their relationship is exactly right now, but I feel like Ty was thinking about Tandy, because as soon as he saw that church, he got distracted. And right after that, he kissed Evita. And when she started asking questions, he kissed her. So I don't know whether he was trying to distract her or whether he actually wanted to kiss her. But right after he kisses her, he goes to see Tandy and in the church, and he tells her that they have to talk. And she nods her head like, yeah, we do. And that is where the episode ends. And I was like, no, how can you end it right here? You have to give me another episode. I so wanted that 4th episode, like right after. I was so waiting for it, like fingers crossed. Like, I knew this was only going to be a week where 1 episode came on, but I was like, oh my God, please, somebody do something. Let there be a mistake and show the 4th episode. You cannot leave me here like this. Oh, I'm so excited for the next episode. And I didn't watch the little preview for what's happening next, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm guessing that we're going to begin the next episode right where we ended this episode, with Tandy and Ty finally talking to each other about what they saw in the Land of Loa. And I cannot wait to hear what that is. I cannot wait to hear them, sort of explain this stuff to each other, explain the attraction that they have for each other. Well, not the way they're drawn to each other. Because when Ty tells her in the, I want to know why Ty was drawn to Tandy in that moment where he was shooting Cooper last week. Why did he appear in front of Tandy? So, yeah, I want to know all those things. I cannot wait until Thursday. Oh, I'm so excited. So that is the end of the episode, you guys. You should follow me all over social media. I am everywhere. On Twitter, I'm at NerdTrovertPod. You can follow me personally on Twitter at TheIntrovertedNerd. On Instagram, I'm at TheIntrovertedNerd. And on Facebook, you should like the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheIntrovertedNerd. And the next episode will be on Throwback Thursday. That is, I'm continuing my journey through the Malibu Sands Beach Club episodes of Saved by the Bell. So, yeah, tune in for that. It's season 4, episode 4 of Saved by the Bell. It's called, what is that episode called? It's called The Game. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tune in for all of that. And I will be live tweeting this show, Cloak and Dagger, on Thursday. So use the hashtag NerdyWatch to tweet with me and to chat with me. And that's it, you guys. Until next week. Later.